what happens mentally when you feel that you make a misstep or may have.
We don't see the result that we expect to see immediately, which most people don't realize that, you know, it takes repetition, it takes time. We kind of get defeated within ourselves.
Yeah.
But progress is one of those things where if you can still just go to the gym, you know, like you're supposed to, whether you think it's not working or not. I learned that we lose a lot of inches before we lose a lot of pounds. Progress is one of those things where if you can still just go to the gym, you know, like you're supposed to, whether you think it's not working or not. I learned that we lose a lot of inches before we lose a lot of pounds.
The concept that Susie just mentioned is something that I wanted to go a little bit in depth on. So I'm going to stop the video and we're going to talk about it a little bit. We lose a lot of inches before we lose a lot of pounds is a concept that happens to individuals who take part in strength training along with cardio and dieting. And so your body composition starts to change when you are applying all of those factors in the correct way. And you will lose body fat. So essentially what she's saying is you will lose inches on your body. You know, your jeans that used to be a little tight don't fit the same anymore. It's a little loose. You know, you have some space in between. Or when you put your belt on, you have to tighten your belt a little tighter. So your body, you're losing body fat. And let's talk about building muscle at the same time. So muscle is more dense than fat. So you will notice that, yes, your body composition is changing. You're toning up. You are defining your body, but you get on the scale and the scale does not change. Because the scale does not differentiate between muscle, how much muscle you have and how much fat you have. So when we are looking to have some type of an indicator of where we are on our journey, we should look at the difference between our fat percentage and the percentage of muscle that we have on our body. That's a greater level indicator. There's nothing wrong with looking at the scale, weighing ourselves. That weighing ourselves is an indicator in and of itself, but it's on a lower level than what I've just mentioned about looking at your muscle percentage versus your body fat percentage. If you want a better way to gauge your journey and see what your progress, see where your progress lies. Also, we didn't talk about water retention. Water retention is another factor that plays a big key role into how much we weigh and what our weight is looking like from day to day. Sometimes, depending upon the diet that we're eating, if it's a diet that's high sodium, our body is going to retain a lot more water. Or, you know, when it's that time of the month for women or what have you, their body retains a lot more water. So again, there are many, many different factors to consider when you are looking or thinking about this concept of losing inches before pounds. So now that we have discussed that, we should be in a better place to be able to understand a little more of what Susie is saying.
Many times when I fail within like a workout or life, but I mean the important part for failing for me is just to show me that I'm capable of doing it. One, because I had the mentality to attempt it, and then two, if anything, it gives me that much more like hunger to go back and get it. Like that failed attempt today at deadlifting, even though it was a new touch. So to touch it and to get that far is so great.
It's important to have the right perspective at the start. When those moments come, and they will come, where we don't meet the mark that we set, there's a reality where we have to deal with the result. As much as we strive for perfection and all the things that we do, we are going to miss the mark. What testimony would a person have if exactly?
If they didn't fail, there would be none.
What changes were made? None, because I exceed every time.
In the beginning, defeat, maybe a little bit of insecurity, self-doubt. As you continue on, then it becomes motivation, determination to know that, you know, this is a part of the course. This is my testimony.
You missing a mark or your failure in X category, right?
Yep.
Maybe actually success, but in someone else's eyes.
Okay, like in terms of your surroundings, people saying you know, necessarily failed.
Someone seeing you reach for a higher level that encourages them or provides energy for them to want to achieve more.
I mean, I know for me, it lets me know that I'm not alone.
Of course. We're all in this together. And this is not only subject to fitness. This is life.
Man, what? Definitely.
And that's where we all can relate. We have different personalities, thought patterns, belief systems, body types, what have you. But one thing we have in common is we all are human and we all go through things in this thing called life. Misstep may only be labeled as such based on how we believe. When we make an error, the error reveals or shows us a part of reality that we may or may not want to accept.
Man, what? It's like a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? That journey is like a relationship.